So once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And Dona Marina. So let me talk about my boss, Evandro de Oliveira, a giant in neurosurgery and microneuroanatomy. This is, he has many things that we remember. One of the things that we have to know, the anatomy, that we don't see, but that we know, we have to know that the anatomy is there, okay? Actually, I was asked to everybody know Evandro after he became famous, but few people will know Evandro before the fame, okay? So what I'm gonna talk about a little bit about him is before he became famous. So he was born 3 days from now, 2 days from now, it's gonna be 79, okay? And, I am from Taiwan, but I was raised, I grew up in Brazil, South America, okay, it's over here. And then this is a map of Brazil. I live in São Paulo, is down here, but Evandro was born in the beautiful city of Florianópolis, state of Santa Catarina. Actually, Florianópolis is an island. This is a continent, this is an island. Just like Taiwan and mainland China, okay? And this is the island's called Florianópolis. That's the Florianópolis. We envy so much because in São Paulo we have, this is a beach town in Florianópolis, beautiful town of Florianópolis. This picture was taken in 1964 when he was admitted to the med school, Federal University of Santa Catarina. I know what you're thinking about. I had a hard time to identifying which one is Evandro. There's a bunch of kids running, celebrating. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Who's Evandro in this picture, okay? Now everybody knows. Wonderful. Let's move on. Okay, he was, here's the college kids. Here are the college kids. They were enjoying the beautiful beach of Florianópolis. I also had a hard time. Which one of those, is Evandro? So I make your life easier. Okay? Now, this is Evandro de Oliveira. More pictures. Graduation, 1969. Med school, not 1 million. Stinky tofu for who could guess who is this beautiful lady standing next to him. Okay, you all got free stinky tofu for tonight. Thank you. And then, I was wondering, where he did his residency program. Brazil is the largest, supposedly the most advanced country in South America. Sorry, Jorge, but supposedly. But he went to Uruguay for his residency program in Montevideo. Uruguay is down here. It's close to the southern part of Brazil. Just cross the river, Rio de la Plata, you will go to Buenos Aires. So Uruguay is between Argentina and Brazil. But why he did go? He went to Uruguay what for? Because at that time, the most advanced neurosurgical services was in Uruguay, in Montevideo, Professor Arana. So that was the mecca at that time for neurosurgery in South America. So he spent like 3 years over there. And this is a picture, Palermo. Probably this is his boss. He was trying to, we can see how he stands. Probably he was trying to run away from his boss. But, otherwise they'll be much closer. Just like Professor Ahmed said, get closer. But he was, okay, let's skip this. So, and after the residence program, he went to visit the big guys. So I was trying to follow his steps. So what did he do to become such a good microneurosurgeon? So he went to see big guys. The one of big guy, obviously you all know, Professor Yashargil, at time in Zurich, and to learn surgical technique. But he sensed that just by visiting Professor Yashargil did not make him a very good microneurosurgeon. Why? He didn't know anatomy at that time. No anatomy is not enough. So he went to Gainesville, University of Florida, in Florida, back in, from 81 to 82. So he had partners, Professor Toshio Matsushima just spoke to us. Michio Ono, very famous paper about tentorial incisura. And do you know who this guy is? What paper he wrote? The interperforating substance, interperforating arteries, okay? And then his close friend Toshio Matsushima, and this is Sumiko, Toshio's wife. She's here too. And this is very traditional party at Dr. Rhoton's house every Christmas. So he would invite, fellows and some of fellows friends. This is Erdder Timur Kaynak. He's from Turkey. He's also Evandro's and Toshio's partner. And he's Michio, and he's Evandro's first daughter, second daughter, and these are children from Sumiko and Toshio.
And we all had a good time. Who went to Dr. Rhoton's pizza party. It's okay. No, just like in surgery, we have problems. Then we have to solve problems. No problem can stop with neurosurgery, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump a little bit and then move on to the next slide. That's okay. And he wrote this paper. Everybody should read it. This is Microsurgery Anatomy of the foramen magnum. Additional fellowship. He went to visit, not to visit only, but also he went to courses. We had skull-based courses in Gainesville, 1991. Here's Dr. Evandro, and here's Yoshi.
I didn't see Yoshi, but I know he's here, and he had removed his mustache. And I thought I didn't recognize him. But this is a big guy called Charles Wilson. So he went there to San Francisco to see Charles Wilson, mentor of Mitch Berger. You all know him. And also, at that time, the most famous neurosurgeon for basilar tip aneurysm was Dr. Charles Drake in Ontario, Canada. She went there to visit Professor Drake. Subtemporal approach for basilar tip aneurysm. And now, Evandro is very famous for his beautiful videos, beautiful pictures. He told me he learned from Leonard Mellis in New York. You need to have a very good setting of, video machine system to record your surgeries. So he was bragging about, Marina was mad at him because he said, I spent $25,000 at that time. I went to New York, bought a very nice video setting. And we all know how important was a video in his career. We all saw, beautiful surgeries through his video system of $25,000 US. And then he also went to see Thorold Sant, giant from Mayo Clinic. We have my friend here from Mayo Clinic. And then he said, oh, now I'm ready to run courses. So his first course in Sao Paulo was just a theoretical one, no dissection, nothing, just a theoretical course about cerebral aneurysms. It was in 1989. It was our first lab was in a basement of a house in Sao Paulo. It's not fancy, so well equipped like other labs around the world, but it was very productive. Actually, just Dr. Rhoton's first lab. It's not fancy, but very, very productive. You depend more on the people who work in there than on the equipment. So that was in 1993. That's his lab. And then ever since, from 1993 to 2020, we had 355 courses and more than 7,000 participants all over the world. They went to São Paulo to have the courses. We have, many different courses over here. You can see cavernous sinus, sulci gyri, bypass technique, brainstem cerebellum, placenta, etc. That was who attended our course this week at the Yangmingshan University. This course started in 1994. Okay, at that time, that was my first time. I was in Gainesville, and after 6 months, Evandro called me. Hey, Wen, come back now. What's that for? You have to run the first course on sulci and gyri in São Paulo. But Professor, I don't have enough knowledge. I don't care. You get ready and come back. So I was preparing day and night slides. I was up during the flight from United States, São Paulo, trying to prepare. And luckily, the sequence we are using 30 years later was designed on an airplane from the Trans-Brasil, an old airline company, was overnight. And later it was used during the CNS and ANS, Dr. Rhoton's course. And then in 1996, we got a new lab, very well equipped new lab. Now it's been closed, but we had a good time there. And ever since, Dr. Evandro was running courses all around the world. This one was in Fort Worth, Texas. Vicente was the Spanish guy I talked to you about yesterday, was part of the team. Pablo Rubino could not make it this time, but I'm sure he'll make it next time. And then here in Portugal, also courses in Valencia, in Spain. Who is this guy? The very famous one. Can you identify him? Ramon Cajal is very famous. Have you everybody heard about him? Ramon Cajal. And then at the Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville, we ran courses over there as well. In China, this is Dr. Evandro de Oliveira is over here. Sanford is where's Sanford? Well, Sanford is, no, I'm here. Sanford is somewhere, but sorry, Sanford. And also, this picture was taken 2000, probably not 6, but 2008 here in not São Paulo, here in Taipei. He was discussing, Chen Shaoqing is always asking many, many questions, We call him Blue because Qing is blue in Mandarin. It's impossible for you guys to, hey, Shaoqing. No. So I said, let's make it easier. Hey, Blue. So everybody knows him as Blue, okay? So Blue was asking many, many questions to the Evandro. He was trying to solve them. And Professor Ali Chris was always here too, Sanford, and Paulo Cadre. And then he was performing live surgeries, not only here in Taiwan, but in Spain and other places, in Portugal, okay? So this is a map about courses around the world. You can see on several different continents. And he had officially 91 fellows who spent like more than 1 year watching him, helping him, learning from him. And more than 500 visitors to see his surgeries. And then fellows, the map showing the origin of the fellows from several continents. And he published, we helped, a whole team helped him to publish 138 papers and many, many book chapters. And probably was the best person who really understood the concept of Professor Yashargil of microneurosurgery, and he could really understand the concept of the importance of the microneural anatomy. So he merged both concepts together to build his own legacy, own philosophy, own concept. I have to ask permission for Marina to gossip a little bit, okay? From time to time during the meeting, you see, where's Evandro? All of a sudden he disappears. And then we'll try to look for him, and we can see smoke coming from, a hidden place somewhere in a convention center. You see, oh, there's the smoke. So you go there and see Evandro is smoking, hiding somewhere. But later on, when we are looking for Evandro in the convention center, there are much more smoke than before, more than twice smoke. Is that what's going on? And then you see, there are two people smoking together. Okay. Okay. No, but actually, I'm here to talk about Professor Evandro's legacy, philosophy, concept. But I can tell that my time is almost up. So, hey, boss, why don't you come over here and talk yourself to the audience about your legacy, your philosophy, and your concept, okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wen. Thank you for your nice word. I am not sure I am as good as you have been telling everybody. Hello, my friend. I want to thank you for remembering me and allowing my voice and the shadow of my presence to be with you during this special meeting, the 4th International Rhoton Society Meeting in Taipei, Taiwan. I have many things to say to you today, so I will try to tell you a few of them. I have made some notes. It has been a while since I talked and worked. In my present world, we just think and act. We don't talk. It's more efficient. But today I will waste some work with you, and so I can give you some of my thoughts. First, I want to congratulate Sanford for putting this special conference together, and for all the special people invited. And I am sure this is going to be a successful meeting. Of course, it will be quite a success, most importantly, because I am talking in it. Second, in our existence, we realize that all our presence towards each other is the result of our thought about each other. So my thought and opinion are present in this room because of your thought about them. So over the years, I also developed, as you know, a special bond with Dr. Fish Ali. And during my lifetime, I taught him many things, and I shared with him a lot of thought. And this is why today I thought this fit to be the instrument through which I will relate some of those thoughts. Going back to this conference, we are here today to celebrate Professor Rhoton and his legacy, and also to celebrate anatomy. He taught us how important it is, and to everything we do every day. During my lifetime, you all heard me talk about the importance of anatomy. Anatomy helped me a lot in my surgery during my life. You all know how much I love surgery of AVM. I like to use AVM surgery as example. AVM surgery is, to me, the ultimate surgery on anatomy. You have to know the anatomy of the spook thigh and gyri, so you can exactly know the location of the ABM and the nidus. Then you have to know the vascular anatomy of the rib in detail, because surgery of AVM is surgery on exaggerated anatomy, exaggerated normal anatomy. I know by the last few years that less people are doing AVM surgery, and this is pity, because we have to keep in mind AVM surgery is surgery for resection of the problem that's curable. The people will say AVM and the surgery of AVM is very dangerous. Sorry, but this is not proof. I would tell the people it is dangerous in your head, not in my head. Yes, there are some AVMs which are challenging, but understanding anatomy will make surgery safe, and you will give a patient a whole life of a cure from a problem. I use this as an example for the young people in the room. I have to say, in my lifetime, the people who helped me learn and master my surgery are Professor Evandro and Professor Rhoton. Professor Evandro opened my eyes to microsurgery and to a new world and completely different way of approaching surgery and understanding disease. When I went back, I decided to go spend time, as you know, in Zurich. When I went back to Brazil and I tried to imitate the surgery after spending time in Zurich, I could not do it the same way. I was puzzled and unhappy with myself. And I later found out why. I think when mentioned, I did not know enough anatomy. I did not know the anatomy that Professor Yazekil had in his mind and his brain when he was operating. For this reason, I decided I have to improve on my knowledge of anatomy, and that's how I ended up going to Professor Rhoton and spent time in his lab in Gainesville, Florida. I'm repeating to you my history so that young people in the audience who are attending the conference today will know the reason I am attending the conference and how I am related to the Rhoton Society. It's also to stress to them the importance of learning anatomy for successful surgery. To be successful, you need many things. And one of those things is determination. When I went to Gainesville to Professor Rhoton, I was an old man, older. But a lot of you have learned my criteria for success. One of them is determination. You have to work hard and persist. You cannot give up fast, and also you have to put the time and the effort. This is why I am sharing my history with you. Also, you have to have courage. This is my second criteria for success. You have to have courage to make big decisions in life, and you have to have the courage to say what you think is right, not what people like to hear from. You all know how many times I got in fight with people because I always said what's on my mind. The third thing is something I call inner sense. You know, it's like you smell something, you know when to do something, when to stop. So the last thing is best. You have to love what we do. If you don't love what you do, you will not be successful. I can tell you, forget it. You will never be successful if you don't love what we do. Never, never. I will remind you on that.
What is important to have success in life? Do you know the answer? Maybe you are not going to succeed to be there, but the main important, the most important thing is what? Huh? What is the main important thing to be successful man or women? Huh? Love. If you don't love what you do, forget it. Never will reach the point. Never. If you observe watching TV, I like to observe TV, at least the talk show. Then they invite Usain Bolt, that's the Jamaican guy that is Usain Bolt. And American, he went to American talk show, and the guy said, how you can do it? With love. Then, past 2 weeks, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, and one singer go to a talk show in Brazil. How you can do so well? Because I love what I do. Always, those people that get that position, they are going to answer the same answer. Love, determination. Love, determination. So,
You see, everything I'm saying today is just a reminder of the things I have said. So when I always stress the passion for people to know that what they do is something they love, it is the secret recipe for success. Today, here in this conference, you have great teachers of anatomy. One of them is Professor Almerti here. Some of you witnessed a lot of heated discussions between me and Dr. Almerti during our lifetime. We are both strong people about our opinion. But one thing we never argued about is the importance of anatomy. We had a special bond. It started very, very early. I'm glad he is still carrying the torch with all of our fellows to help microsurgery succeed. Because it's very sad that many patients, our patients, are not getting the best treatment option when they don't get the good operation. I wonder where he is now. I hope he is already back in Little. I have talked to him. I told him long time ago he could go back and join our league so you can carry the torch of Michael Turk both together. going back to anatomy and to the spirit of this conference. For the young people, how do you learn anatomy? How do you become a master in what you do? Anatomy is three-dimensional. You can imagine it. You can see it. But also you have to touch it. To touch it, you have to go to the lab. There is no way around. You have to spend time as much as you can. If you look at this picture, this is in the lab and literal. If you notice, I was supposed to be teaching. I forgot about the participant. This happened to me, to Sam, the professor years ago. When we are in the lab, we spend more time dissecting ourselves because there's always something new to learn. As you know, we had a lab in Sao Paulo that had several thousand people pass through. When? Dr. Wynn, how was the lab in Sao Paulo? Maybe I shouldn't ask this question. I should mind my business on the other side. Let me tell you some things on my side here, which are reflection of our thought. Both sides have one thing in common, it's our thought. Your thought and my thought are always existent. First time, still a doctor on this stuff. You will be surprised, but I am a doctor because I visit many of you through my teaching every day. Ali, Mateo, Vicente, Wayne, and many others. And I guide you and help you with your surgery. Somehow every day. I know you cannot deny. I know. Ali, I hope my plan that I told you before moving to the other side of the universe is working. You remember, I promised to always be on your shoulder and next to your ear when you need me in the operating room. I do the same for a lot of the fellows. So being a doctor on this side, where I am, has some advantage. First advantage, no one asks you here if they are going to die. So that means I don't have to worry about lawyers. It's a good thing. Second, which is a good on this side, is there are no coils or stents. So I enjoy my time. This is my vascular heaven. Do you know how I feel about aneurysm? I'm sure some of you know. During my symposium in San Diego, some of you know that I was very, very upset. Very upset because some people thought they gave talk which were saying nonsense about microsurgery of aneurysm. Nonsense. At that time, I couldn't talk. I couldn't talk well, so I wrote on a paper and asked Ali to go to the podium and say what's on my mind. He was reluctant. And also my daughter was sitting next to me. He told him not to do. Maybe at this conference, Ali will finally share with you what I wrote on the paper. But in one of my lectures in the life surgery post in Little, I told you how I feel about aneurysm. First, I used to be afraid, and I'm taking when dealing with aneurysm. Then I saw Professor Yes again. And then went to spend time with Rhoton. Then I had more courage. Then the aneurysm became small, and I became big. Before, I used to be nervous from trying to clip an aneurysm. But later, and the aneurysm started being afraid from me. Not only that I like to clip an aneurysm, I like to squeeze the neck of the aneurysm. I like to revenge from and make sure it will never be a problem like it was before. I will remind you of my
You are almost
talk.
dead. Okay? But this happened in the beginning. I was very afraid about aneurysm. I was used to put, you see here, Dr. Ali put one clip, remove, put another clip. 20 years ago, he was used to put one clip and go home. Me too. I was not able to remove the clip in the beginning. Why? Because my hands was shaking. So I suffer a lot with aneurysm. Nowadays, I like to squeeze. Squeeze. This is like a revenge.
So one thing we don't worry about on this side, because I'm still teaching. Through the teaching you do in the courses, like the one you just finished with Temper and Wen and Borba and everybody was there. So sometimes you have a problem to find cadavers and everything for the lab. In my world here, there is no shortage of cadavers. This is a joke. If you did not laugh, please ask the person next to you who's laughing. It's a joke. You know my favorite lecture, which has the title, The Anatomy That You Don't See, but I think when mentioned it, it's one of my favorite lectures. I like it very much because in this lecture, I engage all the audience with a question like, what comes to your mind when you see an angiogram of an AVL? The anatomy of everything related to the anatomy around it, all the vessels, all the veins, where is it in 3 dimensions? How are you going to approach it? How are the veins related to the lesion? What the relationship of the sulci and the gyri and to the nidus? And I like to ask a lot of you to help me and to imagine it in a way you can plan your upbringing. And just to remind you, this was the title.
So why this is important? Important because you can identify, you can see better the pathology, and if you can see better the pathology, and you can see the relations between the pathology and the normal structures, you can how you say, prepare or decide for one approach that's more convenient. For example, what this is one AVM, okay? What comes to your head immediately? What is the neurostructure related to this lesion?
So some of you remember, I used to spend an hour on one slide, but later, in few slides, we have covered everything. This is how you should learn anatomy. You should learn it in your mind. So on your side of the universe, it's the anatomy that we don't see, but it is there, and it's important to learn. It's like when you are thinking about me now, and my present status, you cannot see me, but I am fully present in your thought. So, for the young people, try to do the exercise like this lecture. Then you can master third. You should finish the operation in your head before you go to the operating. So you don't need all this navigation, virtual nonsense, and so forth. It's good, you can use it, but you should not depend on it. You should eventually have your own navigation. You should be able to navigate in your mind the whole operation. I know that Vicente is doing what I told him to do. He's doing a great work, so he can have the anatomy to be instead of the anatomy that you can't see, but it is there, to become the anatomy that is there and you can see. And I am sure he will show in his lecture as well. Now, on your side of the universe, the anatomy that you cannot see is there. But on my side, here, the anatomy that we cannot see is not there. I'm trying to be funny again. If you did not get it, then ask the person next to you, they will explain it. It's time for me to go back to my thinking world and stop talk. But before I do this, I have to tell you two things. And Ali knows these things very well because we talked about them many, many times and argued about them. I told him that he was wrong about them, but later I found out one of them, maybe I was not always right. The other one, now and today, Ali was right. And I will explain. The first thing is about our special anterior clinoid process bond. We call it anterior clinoid process bond. Ali, I am sure you remember how many times I have attacked you about removing the anterior clinoid extradurally in every case. I know that you have reported some of those discussions. So, Matthias knows in the last couple of years, I did more, and I admit it to you, that I did more extradural. And I started seeing that it made more sense. But the real reason to bring it up is to revisit what we used to call our special anticlinoid bond and moment. I thought this would be a good time to relive our special memory. During one of our courses in literature, and when you are removing the anterior clinoid expladurally, I was continuing to attack you from the conference room. I did not know that the microphone was on and still connected to the operating room. And you were listening to me all the time. And you told me later, Evandro, I had to disconnect the microphone to be able to finish the service. Unbelievable. I told you I felt bad. And you were never upset and told me afterward, you will always remember this special moment. And here we are, you're right, we are reliving remembering those special moments. As I always told you many times, every moment in life counts. Every moment in life is a special moment. So this is during your last visit to me in São Paulo. I remember when I walked with you few steps, I wrote for you, and this was funny, that it was much easier to do operation than walking. I was worried that you are unhappy, or you are worried that I was unhappy. But I make sure you know, and I wrote you this, that you shouldn't worry about me, I'm happy. I always told you I was very lucky. I had a good life with a special, loving family and loving wife, special friend, and a specialty that I loved and enjoyed very much. The last thing is the fact that if you remember, when we used to have breakfast together during the courses in Taiwan, and here in this hotel in the Hyatt, where this meeting is happening, you and I always argue about what happens when we die. I was always of the opinion that no matter what you do, that people after 6 months, other than your family, will forget about. I remember you were always arguing that I was wrong. And here we are today, after 6 months, and you think everybody is remembering me. So you are right, and I was wrong. So to the end, I will say thank you everyone for attending, and thank you Stanford for putting this conference and this meeting together. And I remember when you invited me first time, I accepted and asked Ali, should I come? I should go to Taipei or not? And he said, I should support you, that you're a good man, and look what you have been. So thank you everybody. Until we meet again, my friend, obrigado.
Professor, for your excellent and thought-provoking speech. I remember at your memorial in my eulogy, I promise you, I invite you to come back to Taipei again, but you don't need to say anything because your words have already engraved in our hearts. But I didn't imagine that you really, truly returned to Taipei and sharing us so many inspiring words. Thank you, Professor. I also want to thank your wife, Marina. She is incredibly strong, traveling a long distance to Taipei, showing us what the true love, as you say, love, what the true love and devotion looks like. Thank you, Marina. Yeah. I have to say, and because when I kept my promise, I get your husband back. Yes, and like a Rhoton Society meeting promises neurosurgeons all over the world to continue the education in neuroanatomy, we will never let this principle and goals fade away. Yes, and I cannot say anything, but because of you, Wen and I, we made it. Thank you all.
I think it's time for the break, correct, Sanford, now? 15 minutes break.